Hello there. It's me, it's Clayton, and I just got back from seeing Office Christmas Party. And even though this film isn't as funny as I would have hoped it to be, I actually had a lot more fun with it than most of the critics did. But let's get to the story. The story is about this tech company named Xenotech, who and which is not doing very well when it comes to its business. So the CEO of Xenotech, played by Jennifer Aniston, tries to close down the branch of her brother, played by T.J. Miller. But in order to save the branch of their tech company and to save everyone's jobs, T.J. Miller's character, along with Jason Bateman's character, try to throw an incredibly large Christmas party in order to impress a client played by Courtney B. Vance. And, so he'll sign up with the company, and so everyone's jobs will be saved. But that's all. I'll get into the story without going into spoilers. What did I like about this movie? Well, even though the comedy isn't as laugh out loud hilarious as I would have liked, and based on the trailers, there are still a lot of funny moments because a lot of the actors are legitimately funny. Jason Bateman, T.J. Miller, Kate McKinnon, Olivia Munn. A lot of these are really great comedy actors, and I don't really laugh at the writing more than just the delivery of the jokes. Because the writing throughout the film, it does make it seem like the writers were just choosing a billion jokes for every single scene and seeing if throwing as many jokes as possible at the audience will get them to laugh. And when you throw as many jokes as possible at the audience, sometimes it'll be really funny if you choose the jokes well, but if you're just throwing them randomly, then you might end up with one scene that has one joke that's legitimately funny, but then it immediately follows it with another joke that's not funny. It's like that for a while in this film, where almost every funny joke is immediately followed up by an unfunny joke. It doesn't ruin the funny joke, but it does mitigate it, and it makes me feel like, dang it, you were building momentum, but then you had an unfunny joke there. But the actors do their absolute best to make it work, and sometimes it's still funny despite the fact that the joke itself isn't funny, and other times even the actors can't save it. I must insist that this is an R-rated film, so don't bring the kids. There's drinking, there's drugs, there's tons of swearing and sexual references, so if any of that gets on your nerves, you should probably not watch this movie in the same way that I would recommend not watching the Hangover movie if any of that content's not your forte. But if you're okay with it, I think you will enjoy this film. The characters in the film are pretty basic templates, but like I said, the actors get the job done. I especially liked Kate McKinnon's character as sort of the office worker, stiff worker, who gets a bit more riled up once an actual party starts. And I did like the T.J. Miller's character as he's basically a CEO man-child with a heart of gold. In some ways, his performance reminds me of his performance in Deadpool, like if his Deadpool character was a CEO of a tech company. Though his character in Deadpool was far funnier. But I digress. Any other things that I like in this movie? Well, there are actually a few action scenes in this film. I'm not going to spoil them, but they are pretty well handled, with not exactly a whole lot of violence, but a lot of physical comedy that does legitimately work, and one hell of a car chase near the end that I will not spoil the results of. A lot of that really does make up the comedic highlights of the film, along with, most of the party scenes. The reason I kept the plot simple and short is because I only talked about the main plot. There's a huge amount of side plots that are thrown throughout the film to get as many characters as possible involved, I guess. And even though the side plots do wrap themselves up pretty well, I do feel like there are sometimes too many subplots for the film's own good. The film's only an hour and 45 minutes long, but it felt like 2 hours because of how many characters they were throwing at the audience, how many subplots were being thrown, and how many they had to finish before the film ended. So instead of the film building momentum and really having a huge climax near the end, which they try to do, it felt like they were a bunch of mini climaxes that eventually finally ended to the point where I felt glad that the movie was over rather than wishing for more. But overall, I did like the movie. It's not hard to see why the critics don't like this movie, considering there are too many subplots and too many side characters that don't really have a lot of development, but I enjoyed it because the actors are great, there are some legitimately funny moments, and the film can be really fun, like a Christmas Party Gone Wild. So for me, the film is pretty good, but sort of disappointing if you're thinking of it being the funniest movie of the year. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 if you're a fan of the Hangover movies, and if you really feel like you need a Christmas movie, this one will do. Well, this one will do it for you. So that wraps up this review. See you next time.